Hey y'all, it's Stacey with SouthernBite.com. Today we're in the kitchen making one of my favorites, Southern fried cabbage. And you know, any recipe that starts with bacon is gonna be a great recipe, so that's how we're gonna start. I've actually got 5 slices of bacon here that I've just cooked just until it's crisp. And this is about a 12-inch cast iron skillet. I'm using a slotted spoon here to remove the bacon just until we get our cabbage finished. We're gonna add this back at the very end. We want it to be nice and crispy, so we're gonna separate it like this. Okay, over here I've got 1 onion that I've finely diced. This is gonna go in the bacon grease remaining here in the skillet. We're gonna cook this until the onions are nice and tender. They're gonna look translucent. Usually takes 3 to 5 minutes to get them that way. While those cook, turn that down just a touch, I've got a 2-pound small head of green cabbage that I've cut into chunks. We want this just to be bite-sized pieces. Got some of it done here. We're gonna finish this off. You know, when I was growing up, one of my favorite things about cabbage is when Mom would cut up the cabbage, she would save the core out, and I loved eating the core. My dad did too. In fact, I think we would fight over it. We would hear Mom in the kitchen cutting cabbage, and we would race to the kitchen to see who got to the cabbage core first. A little salt, so good. It's almost a little spicy, it's weird. All right, so our onions have sweated down over here. We're gonna add our cabbage to this. Now, like anything, any kind of green that you cook, it's gonna seem bulky at first, but as the heat gets to it, it's gonna wilt down. So you may have to actually add cabbage in stages. Add a little, cook it down, let it wilt down, and then you can fit more in the pan. Just stir it around, get it coated in that bacon grease. That adds so much flavor to this dish. I think, you know, the bacon grease is a signature flavor in fried cabbage. Okay, we're gonna add a little salt and a little black pepper. Work some more of this cabbage back in. And to add even more flavor, I've got 1/3 cup of chicken broth. This is just another way to add a little bit more flavor. Water may be a little more traditional in your family in this particular dish, but chicken broth adds some flavor. I would opt for a reduced sodium or a low sodium chicken broth. Since we've got salt from the bacon and we're gonna add some salt to it as well, we don't wanna get too much. So being able to control that sodium level with a reduced sodium broth is always a good idea. Gonna add the other cabbage in here, cook it down, and when this is tender to your liking, you're gonna add that crunchy, crispy bacon right back to the skillet, and this side dish is done. Y'all, it's so easy, it's so delicious. Everybody loves that bacony goodness. Your family's gonna love this recipe. Remember, you can get this recipe and hundreds more recipes on my website at SouthernBite.com. Y'all enjoy.
Mary, here I was thinking cabbage was good for nothing more than coleslaw.
That's one of the great things about Stacey's recipes. He has all kinds of ways to dress up whatever's lurking in your fridge. If you don't believe me, take a look at this week's recipe and many more at SouthernBite.com. Well, Kevin?
Yep.
That's a wrap.
All right.
On next week's show, we'll bring you the story of a unique university program featuring master classes in things like fishing, archery, and even training bird dogs.
We'll also see how young folks who spend months raising livestock for exhibitions across the state have been challenged by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks for joining us today for Simply Southern. I'm Kevin Worthington.
And I'm Mary Wilson. We'll see you next week.
Simply Southern is produced by the Alabama Farmers Federation and made possible with the support of Alabama Farmers Cooperative and these sponsors.